everyone, it's Skiesti. Welcome back to the third part of our Mercy Guide series. Today we will be tackling positioning and game sense. And within that, we'll talk about stalling, survival, and body blocking. So, what's positioning? Positioning refers to where you decide to play. Mercy's default position is to be in the backline, specifically max beam range away from her team if possible. You should be able to see your team and be at least vaguely aware of where the enemy team is. The enemy team should not be able to see you, and it should be hard for them to get to you without risking their lives. Guidelines for positioning are 1. Playing selfishly and valuing your life over your team. You should never be willing to trade your life for theirs or die for them. 2. Do not stand beside your teammates or clumped up with them. Have some distance and try to be max beam range away. 3. With that said, abuse the range of Mercy's beam. 4. Use corners, walls, and the environment for cover. 5. Always have an escape in mind and ready. 6. Always be looking for the safest position you can play in. It tends to shift from moment to moment as the game progresses, so try to be aware. 7. Always know where you can be attacked from. 8. Minimize where you can take damage from. 9. Make yourself hard for the enemy team to get to. 10. Don't super jump versus enemy hit scams. 11. If you do have to position next to your allies for any reason, make sure you're next to someone who can protect you. Someone with CC would do that very effectively. 12. Unless you have to contest, try not to be on the objective. And 13. Never stand completely still. It'll make you a really easy target. What is game sense? When people talk about game sense, they generally refer to the understanding of what's going on around you and being able to predict and react to the enemy team while paying close attention to the positioning and actions of your own team. A couple of tips for game sense are 1. Know who is currently alive or dead on both teams to keep track of numbers. 2. Know if the enemies are missing from a fight. 3. Know where enemies are positioned or where they might go next. 2 and 3 are very helpful for potential flankers. 4. Know where allies are positioned for Guardian Angel escape routes. 5. Know who is most likely to take damage and make them your priority. 6. Watch areas that your team might not. Try to be aware of flanks that the enemy might take. And 7. Pay attention to sound effects and where they're coming from to avoid danger. There's a lot more that comes with game sense than just those 7 tips, obviously, but a lot of it just takes practice. And the more you're trying to pay attention and be more aware, you'll raise your game sense. So try to stay vigilant and knowledgeable about what's going on around you, for both your team and the enemy team. And also, generally, be aware of the objective as well. One aspect of Mercy's gameplay is stalling or contesting, whatever you'd like to call it. As Mercy, you generally don't want to be the one contesting, but there will be times where you have to. A lot of people ask me about how I get away with the stalls that I do, and giving tips for this is a bit difficult because there are so many variables when it comes to stalling, and every stall is different, so the tips on it are pretty situational. There are many factors you should consider to look for to make decisions while you're stalling. Hopefully these observations that I have for you will guide you in your stalling. So observations to make for deciding when or if to stall or contest are 1. Contest only when you have to. 2. If your allies are alive, try to let them contest while you assist from a safe position. 3. Recognize where the enemy team is positioned. 4. Recognize what hero the enemy has and how many. 5. Recognize what heroes your team has and how many. 6. Find souls or alive allies to use to either Guardian Angel or Super Jump off of. Remain as outside of the fight as you can. 7. Be slippery. 8. Be unpredictable in your movements. 9. Remember that you can use cover to stall. For example, the payload. 10. You can try to get a res off if the situation allows or requires you to try, but if you're the only one stalling, or there's too many enemies near the soul, or if they're paying too much attention to you, you might not want to, as it'll give your allies less time to get back to the point if you die earlier than you need to. And note here, if you really have to res, try to res someone that has an ultimate ready, or a larger health pool so that they can stall until other allies arrive. 11. If you have Valk, being slippery can be much easier. And 12. If you have Valk, resing can be easier as well, but if it's too risky, try to prioritize stalling in Valk over dying for the res. You'll get much more value out of flying around the point, just trying to contest and shave off time until your team gets there. A very niche part of Mercy's kit is body blocking. It is not something that's normally performed by her and can be really dangerous when done, so you should be cautious if you decide to body block. Try to use this technique in moderation as it encourages you to play Mercy in a way that's very different from how you normally should. So what is body blocking? Body blocking as Mercy is when you fly in front of your ally, take a bit of damage that's meant for them, then fly back to safety and regenerate the health with her passive ability, Regeneration. Let's look at the rules of body blocking. 1. Always have an escape in mind. 2. Try not to face the ally you're body blocking for. Instead, look at the ally that you're planning to use for an escape route. It'll make it much easier to get out. 3. Know your limits on how much damage you're willing to take. 4. Make sure you don't die when you body block. 5. Try not to stand still. Move in front of your ally so you don't obstruct their view, so you're also not an easy target for the enemy team to headshot. 6. Body blocking in Valk is a bit safer since your regeneration is always active, but you can still do it either way. A couple of quick body blocking examples include, let's say, if a Widowmaker scopes in and shoots your ally, but it doesn't quite kill them, and then attempts to SMG them to finish off the kill, you can walk in front of your ally to take the SMG shots while healing them. Or if a Mei is freezing your ally, you can hop in front of them and take the shot from her secondary fire. Or if an ally is ulting and it makes them vulnerable. For example, McCree's Deadeye or Farah's Rocket Barrage. Anyway, that's it for this week. Next week, we'll be talking a little bit more about survival. We'll be going into different GA types and techniques. So it'll basically be a comprehensive guide on Mercy's Guardian Angel and how to use it properly. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next week.